Memoir, The Trucker's Wife. Audiobook. Introduction. The Life of a Trucker's Wife. Being the wife of an over-the-road truck driver is a life filled with unique challenges and extraordinary love. It's a story of miles and sacrifices, of trust and resilience, and of a bond that grows stronger with every mile that separates you. It's not a life everyone can handle, but for those of us who walk this road, it's a testament to the power of faith, commitment, and love. This story is about more than the challenges, it's about the strength it takes to hold a family together, the joy of homecomings, and the lessons learned along the way. It's about leaning on God when the road feels long and celebrating the victories, both big and small. It's a story of faith, perseverance, and the incredible love that makes it all worthwhile. For every trucker's wife who has ever felt the weight of this journey, this is a reminder: you are not alone. Your strength, your sacrifices, and your love are seen, valued, and celebrated. This is your story, and it's one of unwavering resilience and endless grace. Being the wife of an over-the-road truck driver is not just a role, it's a calling. It's a life filled with unique challenges, profound sacrifices, and an unwavering commitment to love and family. It's a journey that demands more than resilience. It calls for faith that moves mountains and strength that carries burdens no one else can see. This life isn't for the faint of heart. It means enduring weeks of separation, managing a household on your own, and carrying the weight of both roles when your partner is away. It means trusting God to watch over your husband on the road while you hold things together at home. It means embracing the joy of reunion while knowing the next goodbye is just around the corner. But above all, it's a life of love, love that spans miles, that grows deeper with each sacrifice, and that thrives in the face of adversity. It's about creating a home built on faith, raising children who know the power of God's presence, and showing the world what it means to honor your vows through every high and low. For every trucker's wife who has ever felt the ache of loneliness, the pressure of responsibility, or the fear of the unknown, this is your story. It's a testament to your strength, your dedication, and the unshakable bond you share with your husband. It's a reminder that you are not alone and that the road you're walking, though challenging, is leading to a beautiful destination. This is a story of faith that sustains, love that endures, and strength that inspires. It's the story of what it means to be a Proverbs 31 wife in the modern world, a woman clothed in strength and dignity, who laughs without fear of the future because she knows God walks with her every step of the way. To every wife who holds down the fort while her husband drives the miles, who prays for his safety, and who makes their house a home filled with love, this is for you. You are stronger than you know, more loved than you realize, and a vital part of a story that matters. This is the life of a trucker's wife, and it's one worth celebrating. Dedication to the truckers' wives, to the women who kiss their husbands goodbye, watch the taillights disappear down the road, and carry the weight of home on their shoulders. To the ones who pray over every mile, who hold down the fort, and who keep the love alive across the distance. To the mothers raising children with strength and grace, filling the gaps with extra love while daddy is away. To the wives who handle the late-night worries, the broken appliances, and the lonely dinners, but still greet their husbands with open arms when they return home. To the women whose hearts are highways of love, patience, and faith. This book is for you. May you always find strength in God, hope in the journey, and peace in knowing that love, no matter how far apart, always finds its way home. With gratitude, admiration, and sisterhood. Acknowledgement. To my husband, my trucker, my heart. To my husband, my rock, my road warrior. There aren't enough words to express how much I appreciate you. Every mile you drive, every long night you endure, every sacrifice you make, it's all for us, and I see it. I see your dedication, your resilience, and the way you push through exhaustion to provide for our family. I see the moments you miss at home, not because you want to, but because you're out there making sure we have everything we need. I see the loneliness you battle on the road, the nights spent in a sleeper cab instead of beside me, the holidays and milestones you sometimes miss so that we can have a secure and stable life. And I know it isn't easy. Thank you for every call, every text, and every effort you make to stay connected, even when you're hundreds of miles away. Thank you for showing up, even from a distance, for loving us fiercely, and for always making your homecoming feel like the best part of our lives. I admire your strength, your work ethic, and your heart. I know the road is tough, but please remember your sacrifices don't go unnoticed, and your love is felt in every mile. This book is just as much for you as it is for every trucker's wife. You are the reason I have a story to tell, and I wouldn't trade this journey with you for anything in the world. I love you more than words can say, and I thank God for every safe mile that brings you back home to us. Forever and always, your wife. Chapter 1. Life on the Road. Being married to an over-the-road truck driver isn't a life for the faint of heart. From the outside, it might seem adventurous to drive across the country, seeing new places, hauling loads that keep America moving. But for me, it's a constant balancing act of strength, patience, and love, especially with small kids in tow. When he's gone, the house feels too quiet, yet overwhelmingly loud at the same time. The kids' needs don't pause just because I'm juggling everything alone. Mornings start early with cries for cereal and mismatched socks, followed by the chaotic shuffle to get everyone where they need to be. Evenings are a blur of homework, bath time, and me trying to smile through my exhaustion as they ask, "When's Daddy coming home?" It's hard not having a firm answer. Sometimes the delivery schedule changes, and soon turns into next week. The hardest moments are when I feel the weight of all the roles I carry: mother, father, cook, cleaner, and fixer of broken toys. The loneliness hits hardest at night when the kids are finally asleep and the house falls silent. I lie in bed staring at the ceiling, wishing I could roll over and feel him next to me. The nights I can't sleep, I imagine him out there on some dark stretch of highway, and my heart aches with worry. What if something happens? What if he gets caught in a storm or a wreck? Those thoughts steal my peace, but I bury them for the sake of the kids. Still, there's pride in knowing he's working so hard for us. When he walks through the door after weeks away, the kids' squeals and his tired smile remind me why we endure this life. It's not easy, but we're a team, even miles apart. Still, the pride I feel doesn't erase the challenges. Sometimes it's hard not to feel resentment creeping in, not at him, but at the lifestyle. There are moments when I'm running on fumes carrying a sick toddler on my hip while trying to referee an argument between the older kids, all while cooking dinner, and I wonder, why am I doing this alone? I see other families at the park, dads chasing their kids or grilling burgers on a Sunday, and I feel a pang of jealousy. Not for their lives, but for their togetherness. And then there's the guilt. I know he's out there working grueling hours, missing birthdays, milestones, and the little moments we take for granted: bedtime stories, scraped knees, and spontaneous dance parties in the kitchen. I know he misses us just as much as we miss him. Sometimes when we talk on the phone, I can hear it in his voice, the weariness and the longing. He'll ask about the kids, and I'll tell him how our son scored his first goal in soccer, or how our daughter drew a picture of him driving his big rig. He'll laugh, but I can tell it hurts him to hear about what he's missing. The hardest part is trying to hold it together for the kids when I feel like I'm unraveling. They don't understand the sacrifices their dad is making, or why he can't always be here for bedtime hugs. All they know is that they miss him, and sometimes their questions, "Why can't Daddy come home now?" leave me searching for words that will comfort them without breaking my own heart. Still, there are sweet moments that make it all worth it. When he does come home, the house comes alive. The kids cling to him, showing off drawings, telling stories a mile a minute, and begging him to stay forever. Those reunions are chaotic, joyful, and emotional. I try not to cry when he scoops me into a hug, but the relief of having him home, even if only for a little while, is overwhelming. For those days, we're whole again. We stay up late talking about his trips, laughing about the quirks of truck stop diners or the funny names of the towns he's passed through. I try to soak up every moment because I know it won't last. Being the wife of an over-the-road truck driver is a life of constant adjustment, of learning to find joy in the moments you do have together instead of dwelling on the ones you miss. It's a life of sacrifice and strength, of learning to be both fiercely independent and deeply connected. It's not easy, but it's ours. And every mile he drives, every sacrifice we make is for our family's future. It's a love that endures not despite the distance, but because of it, and somehow, that makes it even stronger. When he's home, I try to make it count. We have family dinners where we sit and talk for hours, catching up on everything we've missed. I watch him listen to the kids with that proud look on his face, soaking in every word as if he's trying to store up memories to carry with him on the road. He fixes things around the house that I've been putting off: leaky faucets and squeaky doors, and plays catch in the yard until the sun sets. Those days are golden, filled with laughter, love, and a sense of normalcy that we all crave. But they also carry a shadow, the inevitable countdown to when he has to leave again. The nights before he leaves are the hardest. We try to keep it light, but there's always an unspoken heaviness in the air. The kids cling to him more, and I find myself holding on to moments too: his laugh, the way his hand fits in mine, the way he looks at the kids when they're not paying attention. I want to freeze those moments, to stretch them out and make time stop, but the clock keeps ticking. When the day comes, we all walk him out to his truck. The kids wave until the truck disappears around the corner, and then the silence settles in again. I give myself a moment to feel the weight of it, to let the tears come if they need to before I turn back to face the house and the long stretch of days ahead. This life isn't easy, but it's taught me resilience. It's taught me to find strength in the small victories: a tantrum calmed, a project finished, and a quiet night to myself. It's taught me to appreciate the value of love, even when it's stretched thin over miles of highway. Most of all, it's taught me to hold on to hope, because no matter how hard it gets, I know he's out there thinking of us, just as we're thinking of him. And when he comes home, it will all be worth it again. As the days pass after he leaves, the routine sets back in. The mornings are busy, the afternoons filled with school pickups and errands, and the evenings a mix of exhaustion and longing. Some nights, when the kids are finally asleep, I sit with my phone, scrolling through pictures of us together or rereading his texts. He'll often send a photo from the road: a sunrise over the desert, a quiet truck stop at dawn, or a snow-covered mountain in the distance. It's his way of keeping us connected, of reminding me that no matter how far he is, we're still in this together. But the reality is, there are days when it feels overwhelming, like when the car battery died in the grocery store parking lot and I had no one to call but roadside assistance, or when our youngest spiked a fever in the middle of the night and I sat by their bedside, wishing he were there to hold my hand and reassure me. It's in those moments that the loneliness feels almost unbearable. I try not to let it show in front of the kids, but sometimes it slips out: a sharp tone, a tired sigh, and a quiet tear when I think no one is looking. Still, this life has its own kind of beauty. It's taught me to cherish the small things: the bedtime calls where his voice soothes the kids to sleep, the surprise postcards he sends from random states, and the little gifts he picks up on the road that remind me he's always thinking of us. And it's made me appreciate the strength we've built as a family. The kids, in their own way, have learned resilience too. They talk about their dad like he's a hero, and in many ways, he is. To them, his big rig is more than just a truck. It's a symbol of how hard he works to take care of us, even when he can't be here. As hard as it is, there's a pride that comes with being his wife. I know not everyone understands this life, but it's ours, and it's built on sacrifice, love, and unwavering commitment. I've learned to find joy in the waiting, to celebrate the reunions, and to hold on to the belief that we're stronger because of what we endure. And someday, when the kids are grown and the long hauls are fewer, we'll look back on these years and know that it was worth every lonely night and every hard moment, because this life, as challenging as it can be, has shaped us into who we are: a family bound not just by proximity, but by love that can stretch across any distance. Over time, I've come to realize that this life has also taught me gratitude for the moments we do have together and for the lessons hidden in the challenges. I've learned to celebrate the little victories, the FaceTime calls where he gets to watch the kids perform their silly dances, the handwritten notes he leaves on the fridge before he leaves, or the nights when the kids fall asleep snuggled in our bed after talking about Daddy's big truck. These moments are reminders that love is about showing up in every way you can, even when the miles stretch between us. But the quiet sacrifices are still there. There are holidays where his seat at the table remains empty, and birthdays where he calls to sing "Happy Birthday" from the driver's seat of his truck instead of lighting candles with us. And then there are anniversaries where we trade romantic dinners for a phone call that lasts until one of us falls asleep. Yet, through it all, I remind myself that he's out there working so hard to give us a better life, and that kind of love speaks louder than words or grand gestures ever could. Still, I'd be lying if I said I never dream of the day when he can be home more often, when the kids won't have to watch him pack up his things and wave goodbye from the driveway, when we can fall asleep every night under the same roof without worrying about how long it will be until the next trip pulls him away. But until then, I hold on to hope and to him. I remind myself that this chapter, as hard as it is, won't last forever. One of the most beautiful things I've learned through this journey is that love doesn't have to be perfect to be real. It doesn't have to look like what we see in movies or read in books. Sometimes, love looks like a video call at midnight from a lonely truck stop or a text saying, "Miss you so much," sent during a quick break on the road. Sometimes love is him finding a way to make me laugh when I'm stressed, or me holding it all together when he can't be here. We've made this life work because we both know what we're fighting for: our family, our future, and the promise we made to each other on our wedding day. And while it's not easy, it's ours. The road may be long, and the miles may stretch far, but our love has proven time and again that no distance is too great to overcome. For every lonely moment, there's a joyful reunion. For every goodbye, there's always a welcome home. And for every sacrifice, there's a bond that only grows stronger with time. This is our story, and it's one of resilience, hope, and a love that keeps driving forward mile after mile. One of the most difficult parts of this life is how isolating it can be. When your spouse is gone most of the time, it's easy to feel like you're living in a completely different world from those around you. I don't have a lot of friends. Most of the moms at school or in the neighborhood have husbands who are home every night, able to help with kids, home projects, or just be there for family dinners. Their lives feel so different from mine that it's hard to find common ground. While they talk about date nights or weekend plans, I'm juggling everything alone, waiting for the next time he'll be back. Sometimes I want to explain how lonely it feels, but I don't want to sound like I'm complaining or make them pity me. Instead, I just keep it inside. The loneliness can be suffocating at times, and it doesn't help that the trucking lifestyle carries its own set of fears and stereotypes. Let's face it, truck drivers don't always have the best reputation. There's a constant nagging worry about what he might encounter out there. The temptations on the road, the stories you hear about drivers stopping at places you don't want to think about, and the women who might approach them at truck stops or rest areas. It's not that I don't trust him, I do, but the fear creeps in, especially during the long stretches when communication is spotty, or he's too busy or tired to call. My mind can sometimes wander to dark places, and I hate myself for even letting those thoughts in. I've had to confront those fears head-on and be honest with myself about why they exist. The distance magnifies everything: insecurities, doubts, and the fear of the unknown. I know he loves me, and I know how much he sacrifices for us, but there's always that little voice in the back of my mind whispering, "What if?" It's not about him giving me any reason to doubt, it's about the lifestyle and the reputation that comes with it. I try to push those thoughts aside, reminding myself of the trust we've built and the kind of man he is. Still, it's a struggle. What helps is communication, even when it's hard. We've had real, raw conversations about these fears. I've told him about my worries, and he's reassured me time and again that I'm the only one for him. He makes an effort to stay connected, whether it's calling during his breaks, sending pictures of his meals, or even sharing funny little stories from the road. Those small gestures mean the world to me because they remind me that I'm not forgotten, that even when he's miles away. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for your support. All audiobooks are available on Amazon and Kindle.